someone had tapped Rhoda on the shoulder a year ago and whispered, one day, a man you've never met, whose face you would never see, would change the way your heart beats, she would have laughed, because Rhoda wasn't a reckless woman. She wasn't a dreamer. She wasn't even the type who entertained strangers online. She was a wife, a mother, a woman who believed that loyalty was the least she owed a marriage. But life has a way of testing even the strongest parts of us. Her story didn't start with cheating or flirting or anything scandalous. It started with silence in her own home and a stranger online who simply said, "Hey, are you okay?" From there, everything began to shift. So sit tight, grab your popcorn, because this is not your usual love story. This is the quiet kind of temptation, the kind that sneaks in through a glowing phone screen and turns a woman's world upside down. Many years ago, in the bustling city of Abuja, there lived a couple, Erame and his beautiful wife Rhoda. From the outside, their life looked perfect. Erame, at just 34, had already crossed the kind of financial finish line most men only dreamt about. Contracts everywhere, properties, plenty scattered across Abuja like he was playing real-life Monopoly. Investments, let's just say if money had legs, his own had been jogging since. Their house sat proudly at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, a tall, confident duplex with smooth cream walls, palm trees standing guard at the gate, and a black SUV permanently stationed in front like a disciplined soldier that didn't know how to go off duty. People saw Rhoda stepping out in her simple but classy outfit and whispered, "Chai, see fine life. God go do my own like this." They had 2 children, a boy and a girl, 8-year-old Elvis and 6-year-old Amanda. Everything looked complete. Rich husband, beautiful wife, 2 lovely children, a house that could swallow 3 normal houses. But if you entered that duplex and closed the door behind you, you would quickly realize something was missing. Love. Real love, warmth, presence, attention. Because in that house, Erame was always on his laptop. Morning, afternoon, night. If he wasn't on the laptop, he was on his phone. If he wasn't on his phone, his eyes were on the TV, reading something, crawling at the bottom of his screen. It was as if his mind had packed out of the house and moved permanently into a screen. At first, when they got married, Rhoda used to complain. "Erame, you're always pressing something," she would say, standing in the doorway of his home office. "Even when we are eating, it's one email, one message, just a minute, let me finish this off." He would look up briefly, his eyes still half inside the laptop and half on her. "Babe, you know how this thing is now," he would reply. "I'm doing everything for this family. If I don't work, how will I take care of you?" Rhoda would sigh, adjust her clothes and walk away, convincing herself he was right. But weeks turned into months and months turned into years. The just a minute became, "We'll talk about it later." The later became tomorrow. And the tomorrow rarely came. She had complained so much that at a point, even she got tired of hearing her own voice. One evening, Rhoda had just finished making her hair, fresh coils, neat edges, everything sitting well. All through her walk home, people kept shouting, stopping her. Your hair is fine, oh. Who touched this hair? It's so beautiful." In her mind, she was already planning how she would step into the house, turn slowly and watch Erame's face light up. But when she opened the sitting room door, there he was, Erame, sitting on the couch like a statue brought to life, typing as if his world depended on the speed of his fingers. The bright blue light from the laptop washed over his face, highlighting the seriousness in his eyes. His eyebrows tightened, his jaws clenched. His fingers moved like a trained soldier's. He didn't look up. He didn't blink in her direction. He didn't even sense her presence. Rhoda stood there quietly, her new hair glistening under the ceiling light and absolutely wasted. Her shoulders fell slowly. Maybe this is how marriage is supposed to be, she told herself. Maybe this is the price of marrying a man who is serious with his work. And from that day forward, she swallowed the words stuck in her throat. She stopped nagging. Stopped asking, "Can you put that thing down and look at me for once?" Stopped hoping for a sudden attention. But the feeling didn't disappear. When she dressed up nicely, he didn't see it. When she changed her hairstyle, he he didn't notice. When she sat beside him on the sofa and gently leaned on his shoulder, he adjusted his position, still typing. His work, he always says, not looking away from the screen. I'm doing all these things for the family. But to Rhoda, it didn't feel like family anymore. It felt like she was living with a hardworking stranger. So she carried the weight of the home quietly. School runs, homework, sickness, PTA meeting, children nightmares, everything. She became like a background application in that house, always running, rarely noticed. One Wednesday afternoon, after she finished cooking stew and the children had gone to their rooms, Rhoda sat on the edge of the sofa and stared at the TV for a while. The TV was on, but her mind was far away. The house felt too quiet. Upstairs, she could hear the faint sound of the keyboard tapping from the study. Erame was working as usual. She picked up her phone. At first, she wanted to just check her WhatsApp messages. Then her thumb wandered to the Facebook icon. She hadn't really used Facebook seriously in a long time. She opened it out of habit, scrolling past old schoolmates posting their children's birthdays, church flyers, funny videos, long rants about the government. Then, she noticed the red dot appear at the top of her screen. One new message. She frowned slightly. Who is this one again? She tapped the notification. The profile picture that appeared made her pause. It was a very handsome young man, maybe mid-30s. Standing somewhere in New York, behind him was the Statue of Liberty, slightly blurred but still recognizable. He wore a navy blue coat and a confident, easy smile. His skin glowed like someone who knew what moisturizer and good lighting meant. The name on top read Seth Zaklon. She blinked. Seth? Her thumb hovered over the message icon for a moment. Then curiosity won. She opened the chat. There, in a grey bubble, was the first message. Hi, beautiful. You've got the saddest eyes I've ever seen. Are you okay? Rhoda stared at the words. For a second, she looked around the sitting room as if someone had spoken out loud. She actually touched her face unconsciously, as if checking whether her eyes looked as sad as he claimed. My eyes? Sad? Nobody had ever said that to her. People had called her beautiful, quiet, gentle, even lucky. But sad? No. Another message popped up before she could overthink. Sorry if that sounded strange. I just saw your profile picture and you looked tired. I hope you're fine. Something in her chest shifted. He noticed. A stranger thousands of kilometers away looking at one old picture she had almost forgotten about could see what the people in her house had missed. She read the message again. Then again. Her first instinct was just ignore him, delete him, block, move on. But the loneliness inside her, the part of her that longed for someone to just ask if she was okay, reached out and grabbed that message with both hands. Before she could stop herself, her fingers started moving. I'm fine, thank you. Just a bit tired. How are you? She deleted fine twice, retyped it, shook her head, then finally pressed send. It felt like she had opened a small door. That evening, while the stew simmered and the children chased each other around the living room, her phone buzzed again. Seth had replied, I'm good. Sorry if I came off too forward. I just believe some eyes tell stories. Yours looked like you carried too much. Rhoda read it slowly. She smiled, a small shy smile that no one saw. From there, the conversation flowed easily. He told her he was a US-based engineer. They chatted lightly about food, weather, what he loved about African culture, how he once spent 2 months trying to perfect Nigerian jollof using YouTube videos, how he wanted to visit Lagos someday to try real suya. Rhoda laughed softly at his attempt to pronounce moi moi. For the first time in a long while, someone was talking to her, not about work or house chores or school fees, but about normal things, warm things, human things. Their conversation flowed with ease. She told him little things at first, that she lived in Abuja, that she had 2 children, that she was mostly at home. She didn't mention her husband, not yet. They talked about the differences between Harmattan in Nigeria and snow in America. Every time her phone buzzed with his name, something in her brightened. That night, when the children were asleep and the house was quiet, she sat on the bed, scrolling through their new message thread. The door of the bedroom opened. Erame walked in, still holding his laptop, phone tucked under his arm. "Babe," she called out to him softly. He answered, eyes already scanning the laptop screen. "I met someone today," she tried, but he didn't answer. "So, how was your day?" she persisted. "Oh, fine. We'll talk later, he replied, placing the laptop on the small desk by the window. He sat, opened it, and disappeared into his world again. Rhoda's phone vibrated in her hand. She looked down excitedly. "Safe. Can I be honest? Talking to you tonight made my day." Her heart dipped a small flip. She glanced at her husband's back. The blue light washed over his shoulders like a second skin. Then she looked back at her phone and typed, "Same here." Days turned into weeks, and Rhoda became subconsciously waiting out for Self's messages. Their chats would start in the morning and run through very late in the night. Rhoda adjusted her life quietly around Self's availability. When he said, "I just finished work, can you talk?" she would rush to the kitchen, clear plates quickly, rush to tuck the children to bed, and sleep away with her phone. Sometimes she would tell Erame, "I'm tired," just so she could lie down in the guest room and chat without interruption. Her screen time increased. Her mind started counting time in when will Self come online. She bought new nighties, told herself it was just to feel good as a woman, but deep down, she knew she was dressing for the confidence his messages gave her. They began to share deeper things. He told her about heartbreak and fake friends. She told him how lonely she felt sometimes, how marriage was not what she imagined, how she felt like furniture in her own home. Sometimes she would cry typing. He always replied quickly, "You don't deserve that. You're too precious to feel invisible. Any man that has you and doesn't see you is blind." Those words wrapped around her like a blanket. One Saturday morning, after the children went to the neighbor's house to play, and Erame locked himself in the study for yet another urgent Zoom meeting, Rhoda was sitting on the sofa scrolling through her phone. A message popped up. It was Seth. "Can we do a video call? I just want to see the woman behind these words. Just 5 minutes." Her heart jumped. A video call? Instantly, a flood of insecurities rushed in. What if my hair is rough? What if my face looks tired? What if he thinks I'm older than my pictures? But another voice whispered, "At least someone wants to see you. Someone finally cares." Her fingers trembled as she typed back, "Okay." Almost immediately, the call came in. For a full 10 seconds, Rhoda just stared at the screen, at the incoming video request, at her own tiny reflection in the corner. She smoothed her hair nervously, wiped her face with her palm, adjusted her sitting position, and finally exhaled. She accepted the call. The screen blinked, loading. A dark blur appeared, almost like the camera was covered. Then his voice came through, deep and warm. "Hey, Queen Rhoda, wow, it's really you." But the screen remained almost blank, just shadows, just hints of movement. "Oh, your camera?" she asked. He laughed lightly. My network here is acting crazy. The camera isn't loading properly. I can see you though. You look beautiful." Rhoda blushed, caught between flattery and confusion. He kept his tone gentle, warm. "I just wanted to put a voice to the person who had made my week," he said. Rhoda smiled shyly. "Wow," he said, his eyes widening. "So you're even more beautiful in real life." Rhoda looked down. "Please leave that thing." They both laughed. She shifted the phone slightly, suddenly self-conscious about the sitting room. "Is that your house?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "Can I see?" He smiled. "I love Nigerian homes." Without thinking too deeply, she stood up and slowly turned the camera. "These are the children's toys," she said, laughing quietly. "They've scattered it everywhere. This is our dining, that's the stairs, and that's the kitchen entrance." The camera moved gently across the room, revealing the neat curtains, the family pictures on the wall, the shiny tiles. In that moment, Rhoda didn't realize she was crossing one of the strangest lines of her life. Not physically opening her front door, no, but inviting a complete stranger into her home through a glowing rectangle. A man she had never met, a man whose real face she had still never seen. As she sat back down, he said softly, "I like it. It looks warm. I can imagine you sitting there every evening thinking your deep thoughts." She smiled. If she listened carefully, she could hear the faint sound of Eramon's voice arguing upstairs with someone over a contract on the Zoom. But Sel's voice coming through the small speaker in her hand felt closer. They talked and laughed until she heard Kaima's voice outside the gate, shouting, "Mommy, mommy, open the door." Rhoda quickly ended the call. "Let me go," she said. "The children are back." "Okay," he replied. "Thank you for letting me see your world. One day, I hope I can see you in person." When the call cut, Rhoda stared at her dark screen for a long time. Something had shifted. This was no longer just casual chatting. She had crossed a line, quietly, gently, almost without realizing it. Rhoda woke up the next morning with that slow, lazy stretch that came from a peaceful sleep. The curtains glowed with soft morning light, and for the first time in weeks, she didn't feel that familiar weight in her chest. Her hand moved automatically toward her pillow. Her phone was already in her hand before she fully opened her eyes. A notification blinked. It was from Seth. "Hope you slept well, sunshine." Rhoda's face softened instantly. Another message followed, sending coffee and warm thoughts your way. She covered her face with her palm and smiled into it like a shy schoolgirl. This man, shy. It wasn't serious. It felt like a bright, harmless good morning from a faraway friend who happened to be awake and thinking of her. Nothing more. She typed back, still smiling lazily. "Good morning, Mr. America." He replied almost instantly. "Haha, Queen Rhoda is awake. What's your first mission today?" Queen Rhoda. The name made her cheeks warm. She typed a few lines teasing him about always being awake at odd hours in America. He responded with emojis, jokes, and small random facts. Their conversation flowed lightly, naturally without pressure, like two people passing time in a park. By noon, she had sent him a voice note while folding laundry. "Finally done," she said in the soft, slightly breathless voice that came when she was tired but content. His typed reply came immediately. "Your voice is soothing. I like hearing it." Rhoda laughed softly and typed, "Why don't you send yours? Let me hear your accent this morning now." He replied, "No, my accent is embarrassing. I sound like a cowboy." She shook her head, amused. Oyibo man with accent embarrassment. Wonders. She didn't push. If he wasn't comfortable, he wasn't comfortable. Everything still felt easy and harmless. Upstairs, the door of the study creaked open. Erame stepped out with his laptop tucked under his arm and phone pressed between his shoulder and ear. "Later, Rhoda, later," he muttered as he passed her. She hadn't asked him anything yet, but she nodded as always. She tried to talk to him again, but he tapped her gently and he said, "Not now, I'm in the middle of something important." He wasn't angry, just distant, busy, occupied, always with a screen in front of him. Meanwhile, on her own phone, sales messages were warm and available, always available. "What are the kids doing? Have you eaten? What are you cooking today? If you could be anywhere right now, where would you go? What's your favorite thing to do when you're alone?" He remembered her answers, every single detail. It made her feel noticed. One afternoon, Self called. Rhoda blinked at the incoming video call notification. Her heart jumped a little. Not out of fear, but out of surprise. She wasn't expecting it. She quickly tied her scarf, adjusted her wrapper, and sat up properly before picking the call. The moment she answered, the screen stayed blank. "Oh no," Seth laughed lightly. "My camera is acting stupid today. Can you see me?" "No, I can't," Rhoda replied, shifting the phone closer to her face. "I'm so sorry, Queen Rhoda. I wanted to say hello properly. Let me fix this thing later, okay?" His voice was warm, relaxed, not tensed. She chuckled. "It's fine. Maybe next time." "Definitely," he said. "I owe you a proper hello." They continued their conversation with ease, talking about food, music, and how hot the Nigerian afternoon sun was. Rhoda didn't think anything of the failed video call. Americans had gadgets everywhere. One tiny button spoils and they complained for weeks. She wasn't bothered. She saw nothing strange. At night, after the kids slept, Rhoda would sometimes sit in the sitting room chatting quietly while Erame walked upstairs. No loud arguments, no accusation, just silence. Two people drifting quietly into separate worlds. Her phone world was bright and warm. His laptop world was cold and distant. Neither said anything to each other. One evening, as she chopped vegetables for dinner, Seth sent a long message. "Sometimes I wish I had a woman like you. African women have the biggest hearts. You have no idea how special you are." Rhoda rested her back against the counter and breathed slowly. Nobody had said words like that to her in years. She wrote nothing for a while. He didn't pressure her. He just sent a small heart emoji and left her to feel how she wanted to feel. She finished cooking with a lightness that surprised even her. During errands, she checked her messages. During laundry, she smiled at her phone. While cooking in the kitchen, she sent quick replies. She still did her work. She still cared for her children. She still kept the house moving. Her days simply had a new background music, Seth's warm, steady stream of attention. One evening, after a long conversation about Nigerian movies, Seth sent a message. Hey, Queen. My iTunes subscription expired and my bank here is acting weird. Can you help me pay $9.99? I'll refund you tonight. She blinked. That was less than 20,000 naira. Very small for a man who worked in American tech. Sure, she typed. She sent it before she could even overthink. 10 minutes later, you're an angel. Don't worry, I'll pay you back. I promise. She smiled. She wasn't expecting the money. It felt like helping a friend. Over the next weeks, he asked for small things. Can you send me data to download an African documentary? Can you support the project I'm doing here? Just $15. Please help me send $10 to a South African family I'm supporting. All small, all with soft explanations, all wrapped with gratitude. She didn't see any patterns. It all felt normal. He loved Africa. He wanted to help people. He had bank issues sometimes. He was a little disorganized. That's all. Nothing dangerous, nothing serious, just small things. One afternoon, while sweeping the children's room, she sent him a long note. I just feel invisible sometimes. Erame is not a bad man, but he's always busy. I'm always here with the kids alone. I feel like I've lost myself. He replied instantly. If I was your man, I would never ignore you. She held the phone to her chest. She didn't reply immediately. Later that night, while she was lying on her bed with Erame beside her, typing aggressively on his laptop, her phone buzzed once. She opened the message quietly. Rhoda, you deserve happiness, and if you become mine someday, I will treat you like the queen you are. She stared at the message, her throat tightened. It wasn't a proposal, just a thought. Soft, gentle, warm. A possibility she didn't ask for but didn't reject. She typed only one emoji, a smile. Before sleeping, she opened their chat thread and cleared it, not because it was wrong, but because she felt guilty. She didn't want unnecessary explanations if by chance Erame ever touched her phone. But he never did. Still, she turned off her phone, placed it close to her chest and smiled softly into the darkness. Rhoda woke up the next morning with a different kind of energy, the kind that comes from hope you can feel in your bones. She didn't even stretch or roll over slowly the way she normally did. She sat up immediately, grabbed her phone, and opened WhatsApp before her eyes were fully awake. There it was, a long message from Seth. Queen Rhoda, I couldn't sleep last night. I've made a decision. I'm coming to Nigeria. I want to take you away. I want you with me. Start preparing your papers. We are leaving this country together. Rhoda covered her mouth with both hands. Her heart started beating faster. Not from fear, not from confusion, but from excitement. Pure excitement, pure relief. Her eyes filled with tears. She screenshotted the message and saved it in a hidden album on her phone. Then read it again and again and again. That was the moment she had secretly prayed for. A chance at a new beginning. A man who really wanted her loudly. When she stepped out of the bedroom, she was practically floating. Erame sat in the study doorway, typing on his laptop as usual. Good morning, she said. He didn't look up. Hey, morning, no. His eyes stayed glued to the screen. Rhoda glanced at him for only 1 second before walking away, a small ironic smile on her lips. Today, nothing will steal my joy. Seth sent her a list of documents to prepare: international passport, police clearance, medical report, a migration sponsorship letter, a relationship declaration, a travel intent form. All the forms looked official. Clean logos, proper formatting, Nigerian coat of arms, US seals, all over it. None of it raised Rhoda's eyebrows. She began quietly preparing everything. During school runs, during laundry, during sweeping, during every gap in the day. She would sit on the living room floor with papers scattered everywhere, filling forms carefully, her handwriting neat and hopeful. Whenever she asked Seth a question, he replied immediately. Yes, you did that one, it's fine. Just sign at the bottom. Good job, Queen Rhoda. His attention and gratitude kept her going. One night, after she finished ironing her clothes, Seth messaged her. Baby, there is something I need to tell you. To relocate you easily, I need to secure a work contract in Nigeria first. She blinked. Don't worry, it's just a formality, but they require a processing fee. Her heartbeat slowed down a bit. How much? She expected maybe 50,000 or 100,000, something small. But he replied, 2.5 million naira. Rhoda paused. Before Fear could take root, he sent her a company letter, a receipt, a contract approval form, a bank statement, even a scanned signature. Everything looked real. Then he apologized. I hate to ask you, but my bank froze international transfers because I am relocating. Don't worry, I'll refund you as soon as I land. Rhoda sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the documents. She breathed out slowly. Then she stood up, walked to the wardrobe, opened the small zip pouch where she kept her token. At 11:52 p.m., she transferred the full amount. Self-sent. Your saving and future. I love you. She pressed the phone to her chest and closed her eyes. 2 days later, she received a message. Baby, I have great news. My visa to Nigeria was approved. And they approved your relocation entry too. You're coming in as a permanent resident. Rhoda froze. Permanent resident in the US? Her spoon dropped. She rushed to the bathroom, locked the door, and stared at the message. He sent her a document with her name on it. Rhoda E. Permanent relocation visa approval. US Department of Homeland Security. Category, family sponsorship. Priority. Rhoda covered her face with her hands and cried softly. Relief. Joy. She whispered, thank you, God, even though God had nothing to do with it. She imagined her new life in America. No more silent dinners, no more talking to walls, no more feeling like a shadow in her own house. She began packing slowly, secretly, folding clothes into a small box under the bed. 2 nights later, Seth messaged again. Baby, there's one more thing. What happened? She typed quickly. Nigeria requires a security clearance fee for foreign arrivals. It's a new policy. They didn't tell me this earlier. Rhoda frowned slightly. How much? 10 million naira. She inhaled sharply. Before she could respond, he sent her flight itinerary, a sample boarding pass, a Nigerian immigration form, then followed up with, this is the last thing, baby. I swear. After this, nothing is stopping us. Please don't let money stand against us. Just help me. My bank still hasn't been resolved. It's still frozen. When I come back, I will make sure I give you everything. Rhoda sat on the floor and leaned her head against the wall. Her heart was racing. But when she imagined Seth arriving, imagined being held, adored, chosen, attended to, she imagined a life where someone genuinely wanted her. The decision didn't take long. She sent the full amount. Then he replied almost immediately, you're my everything. I'll make you the happiest woman alive. She smiled with trembling lips.